is no longer stranded. The world is grand. Life is in my hands. Love always helps me move forward. Always cultivate before time fades away. Time passes in the blink of an eye. We cannot go back in time. Let's get together and strive forward. Love always helps me move forward. Make my life shine and be the star of life. It's always bright. Love always reminds me to move forward. Time is ticking and slipping away. Love always reminds me to move forward. Winds blow and clouds come and go. Love always reminds me to move forward. Happiness in my hands. Life is so grand. A voice in my heart helps me move forward. Life is no longer stranded. The world is grand. Life is in my hands. Love always helps me move forward. Always cultivate before time fades away. Time passes, blink of an eye. We cannot go back in time. Let's get together, stride forward. Love always helps me move forward. Make my life shine and be the star of life. It's always bright. Love always reminds me to move forward. Time is ticking and slipping away. Love always reminds me to move forward. Winds blow and clouds come and go. Love always reminds me to move forward. Happiness in my hands. Life is so grand. Love always reminds me to move forward. Time passes year after year. Love always reminds me to move forward. Winds blow and clouds come and go. Love
Hello and welcome to our Super Life Secret Codes online workshop. My name is Ryan Sway, and first I'd like to thank Master Sun for providing us these great tools to improve our lives. Also want to thank our panelists and all the participants from around the world. Super Life Secret Codes teaches us how to take control of life using energy management. The book was written as a life manual, focusing on the two codes of love and gratitude. If used properly, these two codes can help us achieve success in every aspect of life. Okay, welcome everyone. And tonight we are again reading in the Abundance book. And as we read the book and as we think about abundance, I think one area that a lot of people don't really connect into is truly what abundance actually is. I think a lot of times we think of abundance as like doing well, okay. But when you think about abundance, it takes it to a different level. Most people don't think about in life that an opportunity for me does not take away an opportunity from someone else. We tend to have a only one or a few people can get it. And I think a lot of that is taught to us if you played sports. There's a winner and there's a loser. And occasionally there's like first place, second place, third place. But in general, direct competition, it's kind of a winner and loser. So if you think of it that way, we kind of go through our lives with a winner or loser. Therefore, abundance is harder to come by because if I gain, then someone else loses. So as we think about abundance, we have to recognize that abundance truly means there's enough for both and all, actually, not just both. And in that case, think about in competition and stuff, everybody wins. And that's where we come up with this, the concept of a win-win. Now, for those of us that are not in sports every day, in our real lives, just think about that concept of a win-win. That leads us to abundance. So think about the things you do at work, school, wherever you are with your family. Most of the times, I think you could put together a process that generates an outcome of a win-win. This is something I think that is very, very possible on a daily basis, but a lot of us, we don't think about that. And that's where the abundance comes in. And so as I go through my day now, I try to think about all the win-win opportunities. You're driving your car and someone cuts you off. It's maybe not a win-win where you're super happy they got cut off, but if you think about the outcome, you're still going the way where you're supposed to go. No accident happened. They got to where they need to go. The result of that actually is both people are still doing what they want. And that's a positioning. Now, I know other people in life that their positioning is different. They feel like they need to be ahead of the other car that's cutting them off, which I'm not exactly sure why. Because if you look on the road, for those of you that have to drive, there's always someone ahead of you. So there's really no race. And so if someone is from behind you, gets in front of you, does that really matter? And if we can have the right positioning, no, the answer to that is no. So the win-win is they go, you go, and everybody's good. So it's really a mindset. And again, today I want to kind of highlight this concept of abundance and make sure that as we talk about this, as we practice to try to achieve it, that we actually know what we're trying to achieve and not sell it short. Because if you sell abundance short and it's just kind of convenient or nice, it's harder to recognize the gratitude, or it's hard to apply gratitude to it because it's just kind of average. So if you think about abundance, it is nothing, there's nothing average about it. It's truly something, I don't want to call it amazing, but when it works right, it is that win, 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 win. And if you can achieve that, then people around you will want to be spending more time with you. And this is just one of those, some people call it charisma, but charismatic people tend to make other people feel good. And those that are not so good or not very charismatic, sometimes they're rough around the edges and people feel it. And they say, man, this so and so person seems really nice, but everyone, they say these things and it's kind of offensive or something. Harder to connect with that. But again, if you do everything, in a positive, in a abundantly nice way, then people will feel that and people will gravitate to that. So your energy will be felt maybe long before your words ever get to that person. And for me, that's a great experiment. I always like to use, as we learn about energy management, try to harness this positive energy and see, can this be, presented before I even say anything? Or as I'm saying things, how can I leave a positive effect on someone rather than leave them with a negative, obviously. So this is, it's kind of an ongoing. So everybody I talk to, it's kind of, I don't want to call it a game, but it's a practice. And I highly recommend that everybody try that. Just have conversation. It's great if you could do it at work because people appreciate that. Because typically the work environment is a little, sometimes higher stress, and everybody's kind of at each other's throats a little bit because they're trying to get something done. But if you can be kind of that cool and calm and collected person that actually makes other people feel better. I know bosses absolutely love it because they feel like the work's going to get done. They're not stressed out. And it's like that smile, it's contagious and makes people feel better versus, oh my God, everything's so, and you're just like a crazy person. Then people get that vibe too. Then they kind of get chaotic. Then the whole space is chaotic and it's hard to appreciate each other. You're more or less like bowling pins crashing into each other because of this bowling ball that comes in, which oftentimes is the boss or the job itself. So again, if we have the right concept for abundance and we shoot for that high level, then I think you will have a greater appreciation for it. And then also the people around you will feel that positive energy and you'll give abundance kind of a fair shake. Whereas I think a lot of times we talk about abundance and we barely get away with something like so kind of good. So let's keep that in mind. Now I'd like to introduce our panelists. We have Amy from Las Vegas, Nevada, and we have Vivian from Walnut, California. Okay, and so again, the format of the book is a dialogue between Master Sun and a student. So if you hear my voice, then those are the words of Master Sun. And if you hear Amy or Vivian's voice, then you know those are the words of the student. All right, we will begin on page 85. And it looks like, Vivian, I think you will begin.
Yes.
Let me
Okay, page 85. Wouldn't this be a waste? We end up destroying our path towards growth and enhancement.
Yes, the important point now is the speed wagon is starting. What is right in front is just a warm up to enable you to understand the right concept. If you have thirst for abundance, tell yourself so every day and set a very clear definition of the abundance you want to achieve. Do it carefully, as the definition will affect your future direction and experiences. Whether it turns out good or bad, you will be responsible for everything. For example, if you want to get rich and you work so hard to achieve this objective, but later realize you sacrificed your family and relationship, it is all on you.
This would be tragic. So we need to set a very clear positioning of what abundance we want to achieve. And we need to define all aspects of abundance, correct?
Yes, set a very clear positioning. Rectify the various issues in your life and do it earnestly. See that you have grown in the process and strengthen your ambition from time to time.
Yes.
Sometimes we appear to be fully equipped with all factors, universal, geographical, and human, but we do not focus on the key factors in time, fail to rectify our weaknesses, and do not self-reflect enough to resolve all our issues. Instead, we end up with many excuses for not doing this, excuses for not doing, and this contributes to a weak attitude that is common in a poor person.
So a person's attitude determines how high he can fly.
Yes, many successful entrepreneurs do not squander their wealth, but lead disciplined lives. When you understand them further, they are usually very good at planning their lives, and they set goals with confidence and determination. They face challenges with a positive attitude and never complain, and they never think that people owe them anything. Faced with issues, they will continue to enhance themselves and resolve issues. Do you know who is your biggest enemy?
Myself.
Yes. Try this practice. Switch your issues to become opportunities for bigger achievements. With this, you will become more successful than other people. Success encompasses many aspects. Material gain is only one of them, and harmony in life is another. When you attain perfection in all aspects, the sense of achievement reflected into your future will be real abundance.
What Master Song means is do not limit success and abundance within material gain, and then having good health, safety, and a harmonious family are also aspects of abundance. So it is too narrow to limit the scope of abundance to only monetary wealth, correct?
That is the meaning.
Oh, I have been holding the wrong concepts all this while.
You need to be very clear with the right definition of abundance. The misunderstandings you had led you to miss out on many opportunities. This is like the wagon of abundance just drove past you and you did not jump into it. What a wasted opportunity.
It is indeed a waste. Reflecting on the past, I've missed out on many opportunities, but I'm grateful that I get to learn under the Super Life Secret Code system, and I can learn under your guidance so that I can understand and realize all this now. I'm really grateful to you.
Okay, Vivian, would you like to share?
Yes. Thanks for letting me read this section. As Master Song explains here, the definition of abundance should not be narrowly limited to money. This is a mistaken concept that can cause us to miss many opportunities to uplift ourselves in the cultivation. And as Master Song mentions here, true abundance is not only about material gain. It also includes harmony in life, good health, safety, a loving and a harmonious family, healthy relationship. After we understand the truth of the universe, I think this is, and then also a genuine wish to help others and then bring benefits to them. I think this is called abundance. I'm deeply grateful to be able to study in the Super Life Secret Code system. Through it, I have learned that when we adjust our energy field to match the frequency of the universe, we can truly feel abundance. Recently, I read Master Song's book. It calls Blessing Wisdom Secret Codes, in which he shared the story of the legendary Japanese entrepreneur, Mr. Inamori Katsu, who helped Japan Airlines recover from severe losses. At the time of his retirement, Mr. Inamori was expectedly called upon to save Japan Airlines from continuous losses. In just 1 or 2 years, he turned the company around, transforming losses into profits. And in the second year, Japan Airlines' profit accounted for half of the entire global airline industry's total profit. Afterwards, he quietly stepped down and returned to his normal life. Isn't that remarkable? It struck me that an ordinary person in the material world could achieve something so extraordinary. Many would just seek greater fame and fortune from such success. But Mr. Inamori humbly said it would have been impossible without help from the universe. He also shared that the true value of life is not in what you possess, but in what you are willing to let go. In his story, I saw that he set aside fame and fortune, chose to do things that benefit others without expecting anything in return, and in doing so, gained boundlessly happiness for himself. His virtue became a shining example. It's like a shining star for thousands of people to follow. I also came across another touching story about Mr. Inamori. Although he was a highly successful businessman, he once became a monk. Even though he had enough wealth to purchase that temple, he still went door to door in the neighborhood to practice cultivation. One day, an elderly woman across the street noticed him while sweeping the floor. He put down her broom, walked over, and placed a 100 yen coin into his hand and saying, "Ah, you are a monk practicing cultivation. You must be very hungry. Take this and buy some bread for yourself." At that moment, her hand placed the coin into his palm. Mr. Inamori felt as if an electric current had surged through him, and his whole body trembled, and the tears came out from his eyes. And he experienced a joy unlike anything he had ever known. And suddenly he realized that true happiness, true abundance come from benefiting others. This incredible feeling, he understood, was the highest state of happiness and abundance. This also reminded me of what Master Sang often teaches us. Do not avoid doing good things simply because it seems like a small matter. If more people follow this example of helping others, more hearts will be filled with gratitude, love, and kindness. In turn, the positive energy of our world and society will grow, and together we will all share in true happiness. Thank you. This is just my sharing.
Thank you, Vivian, for your sharing. That's a great story. And yeah, there's, not enough people in the world like that. And, it would be nice. Well, first of all, it's nice to hear about a person who can do that, especially, at that level in life, being, the big boss and stuff. But it's really something that all of us can do also on a daily basis. And I often ask myself, like, hey, today, who have you talked to? Who have you helped? Have I helped anybody? And I'm really grateful to Master Sun and Super Life Secret Codes because I do have the opportunity to talk to people almost on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, at least a couple to three times for sure. And you can see how Super Life Secret Codes has helped them or is helping them. And I think that in itself is, very uplifting. For myself, I feel grateful to have that opportunity to share something so great as Super Life Secret Codes. And so I hope that, all of us can find opportunities and look for, I shouldn't say just find, really go out and look for opportunities to try to uplift somebody's, daily life. And I'm sure, Vivian, at work, you probably do this all the time, be able to help people. And, guidance is always a great way to help uplift people. Being great at what you do and sharing that with others or helping others, that's another great way. And I'm sure you do that on a daily basis. And so it is something that we can all do. And, having a story like what Vivian just shared really gives me more motivation to go out and try to, do more good and try to help people because it does come back to you, but that's not the only reason we do it. But we can really help other people. And sometimes it's just what they need is that little bit of, a pat on the back. People say a hug or just hello and or a smile. Stuff like that can really help people. So again, thank you, Vivian, for your reading and sharing. We'll go to the next section, and Amy, if you can read with me from page 88. Okay, looks like I start. It's Secret 5, have enough patience. Try to assess yourself and do not be relaxed with yourself. In every theme of your deficiency, work very hard to resolve it, stage by stage, and do not find excuses for yourself.
Nowadays, many people like to blindly follow the trends. You can see people flock after hot and popular business. The trendier the business is, the more people will chase after it. They don't even know what they need, what they are doing, and they never think carefully to see if this is really helpful to them.
We need to apply our positivity on the right place. In life, it is normal to encounter challenges. During such time, we need to know what areas of weaknesses we have and need to fix. No matter what mood you are in, you just need to do it. Time flies. If you do not do it right and you miss the window of solution, you will still need to face it, as it will come back again to haunt you. Let's remember, people who are successful tend to be very patient.
Many people are not patient enough and not visionary enough. Hence, they give up easily. Is there any way they could overcome such a weakness?
Be fully aware of logic and rhythm. Focus on the must-dos carefully, and with the drive of your ambition, complete them one by one. This approach determines your success.
Is patience a kind of personality trait?
Yes, it is a very important personality trait, but it comes in different levels.
Different levels of patience? Isn't it enough to just have patience?
What is your index of patience? From 0 to 10, try to assess yourself. Let me ask you, if you worked in a small company for more than 10 years and you are still a junior staff, is this considered good patience?
I think so. What's wrong with this?
No doubt you have patience, but you do not have enough ambition and drive for growth, and you do not have a sufficient level of flexibility for change.
I understand. Success depends on a multitude of positive traits and diligence, correct?
Yes, success equates to the availability and readiness of all necessary factors. Not even one can be missing. When you are equipped with all the factors, and when the right time comes, success will be right in front of you. Therefore, we need to continuously assess ourselves, focus on our requirements, and enhance ourselves all the time. And we need to assess ourselves daily to ensure we grow day by day.
Understand.
Success is never accidental. Are you fully prepared? How much effort have you put into all aspects? This touches on our next topic, whether you have valued yourself enough. The current role you are playing, is it enough to execute and complete everything? Okay, we can pause there. So this section talks about patience, and I like the comparison, or not the comparison, the way Master Sun described, patience working at a company for many, many years, but not really progressing, and asking the question of, is that good patience? As I look at patience and kind of apply it into my daily life, for me, patience is a direct result of my positive or lack of positive energy in whatever category. As we talk about patience, a lot of people, they think of time, and you feel like you just don't have enough time, and then you become impatient, right? You're in a rush, you got to get something done. Well, if we have enough time, patience is a lot easier. But as Master Sun shared, for a lot of people, they, I think, kind of misconstrue this concept of patience. And I see people trying to improve their life, but they're kind of using patience as the excuse, like, I'm not in a rush. It's okay for me to struggle for a long period of time. And so I think that's an area where patience is the outcome because of a lack of energy. I'm in sales, like in real estate, and I could put a property on the market and be patient, right? And spend no time. All I do is put it on the internet, list it, and try to let it sell itself. If I do that, then I'm asking, my client to be patient and just let it wait a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Or I can put it out there and put more energy behind it. Make it an attraction for people to come look at. Make it, promote it, do all these things, put more energy into it, and it will probably sell faster. So for me to just be patient and let it sit, it's not a good thing. So that's where I appreciate Master Sun giving us the explaining the difference of lack of ambition and kind of forcing a patience situation. We need to put enough energy into every situation, and then depending on that level will determine where we sit with patience. If we are trying to make money, but we have a lot of money saved, then you can be more patient, and maybe you pass up on deals that aren't great or that are not solid but more risky. But if we are low on money, and then our patience is going to be less, and we'll take whatever comes, right? And we see a lot of people make this mistake in business, kind of as I talked about earlier, the trendy businesses and stuff like that, or in this section, hop on the bandwagon, try to make, ride the wave, if you will. If you're unlucky and your energy level's not quite there, that combination could be a recipe for disaster. And then if you are solid, and this is where it's interesting, if you analyze a lot of these successful people or wealthy people, the more money they had, the more money they make. And it's kind of the concept that, it takes money to make money, but it takes money to sustain and wait while you're not making money. So if you think of it that way, opportunities come and go. There are good, there's good and better and best opportunities. And depending on where you position yourself will kind of determine which one you have to take. A good opportunity may come, but there's a better one behind it. But because you have to do something now to pay a bill or do something you need to do financially, it forces you to take the one, low-hanging fruit is another way to put it. So it's really important that we recognize this. And when we do, then we realize it's not society or the market or other people that push us to do something one way or the other to make us be patient when we don't want to be, or to make us rush something because we don't have any patience because we have a lack of energy. Success is being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, right? It takes all three of those to truly be successful. If we don't have enough energy, timing wise, we're late to the game, but we have all the other resources, we still could fail. It really does take a combination of all three things. And so as we think about patience, one, think about what is the energy behind your patience. Is it you're sitting on a bunch of, say if it's money for an investment, you're sitting on a bunch of cash waiting for the right time, and when the right time comes, you strike and then you succeed? Or are you a person that's got no cash and you're needing cash, so you're really just pushing to try to get a deal done to, kind of fill the hole that's already been dug? if it is that case, then you're probably not grabbing at the best opportunity. You're grabbing at the best at the moment, right? So that is a big difference from making the best of what you have versus really getting the greatest opportunity. So that's the difference between a regular life, say, and a super life. And so again, recognizing that there's different levels of patience, as Master Sun talks about, I think is very important. For myself in the past, I think I played this card of patience or just the waiting game and trying to make the right decision, but I didn't really realize that my patience was more missed opportunities and just have no choice but to wait. And you wait it out, and you could waste energy while you're waiting it out. As I look back in different things that I've done, I realized that maybe a lot of the things that I did it wasn't the exact right time. It kind of started on the wrong step, and then I just had to find ways to adjust myself to make it work. And kind of the key word to that, or key phrase to that, is make it work, versus, like, as we're talking about in this book, of abundance. Making it work is kind of like Master Sun's, you've been working at this job for a long time, but you're still a junior level person. On one hand, people say, well, at least I still have this job. It's a very tough economy right now. People are getting laid off. I'm grateful to have this job, which is good in itself. Yes, you should be grateful for what you have. Yes, you have a job when many other people don't. However, if you truly look at your situation, you may have had a lot of opportunities to really advance yourself, and you would still have a job, but you just have a higher level job bringing you more of what you were hoping for, or getting you closer to your goals. So these are things that we kind of have to look at. Why didn't we take those opportunities, or how come they weren't truly available? Whatever the case may be, it takes us to monitor, kind of analyze the situation, and then in the future make the right adjustments so that you can hopefully achieve more and kind of get further ahead. And that's the part that I think Master Sun, it's very wise of him, and it's helpful to us to recognize that we do have to make sure we have enough ambition, which is an energy in itself, that motivation to push ourselves beyond the status quo or beyond survival of a situation, and push ourselves to the point of, say, high achievements, high performance, and to that level of abundance. So I think it's extremely important to recognize that. And then preparation and positioning, I think, is very important as to whether or not we can be patient. I talk to people about their financial goals or their career goals, and every once in a while you run across someone who's just beginning on things, and they say something like they have a goal to make $1 million, and then you say, hey, great, but when, what's the time frame? In a year. Okay, so if someone has a goal of making $1 million in a year, you would hope that they're prepared, their level is already at maybe a steady income, making some investments. Because if you're on a salary, even if you're making $100,000 a year, or 200, or even 300, if you're on a salary, that's what you make in a year. You got to have something else to make up that other 700,000, right? You need a bonus, you need investments or something. So to have that, maybe that positioning of $1 million in a year, for some people it's easy. For others, it's impossible. And then for the people in the middle, it could be extremely challenging. And maybe it would be better to position yourself to give 2 years or 3 years for that. So I think that's a healthy version of patience, to set your goal, to prepare yourself and position yourself in a way that it's achievable. And then for goals like this, then you want to put, some metrics or numbers in there to kind of set goals, like this in 1 quarter, make this much, and you can kind of break it down however long your time frame is. And so that type of patience, I think, is healthy. And I think that's where, Master Sun is saying, have the right level of ambition with a good combination of patience, and then you will see yourself improve steadily. And as the better you get, maybe the faster success comes to you. The kind of downfall, or the thing that I think we all have to be cautious of, is patience as a result of failure. So it's been a month, I didn't do anything. It's been 2 months, I didn't do anything. It's okay. I'm still trying, but I need to be patient and just let it, continue that process. So 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. After 6 months, if you're doing the same thing and you're still getting, not so good results, that's a possibility. That's a time to push in, put in a little more, maybe ambition, or maybe shift some gears, change your direction a little bit, try something else. Or if you're, working on like Super Life Secret Codes, maybe you have to push yourself a little harder. Some sort of change needs to occur to give yourself some new options. That's in a previous section, when you're out of, options, then the changes come, and you take the changes will create solutions, and solutions will, create a better outcome. So that's something that we definitely have to think about. But as with anything that Master Sun teaches us in Super Life Secret Codes, the positioning is extremely important, and our level of energy, positive and negative, determines whether or not we can position ourselves in a good way. And the example of that is, if you don't have, if you're struggling for $10, then a meal on the table for your family's going to be pretty tough already, let alone trying to make $1 million. So the positioning at that point is, let's just focus on getting food on the table every night, rather than big, lofty financial goals. So each of us has to look at our own situations and realize, where our goals are, and to be reasonable with that. And then again, that's kind of the positioning. And then if we position ourselves right and we have the ability to put in this energy, then patience becomes kind of a virtue. It helps us get through the process so that we don't get burnt out or too hard on ourselves because we're not achieving what we need or thought we need every second. So patience then, I think, is a helpful tool. But again, as Master Sun shared, we want to be careful that we're not using patience, bending it a little too much to say, hey, it's okay, it's okay. And before you know it, a long period of time goes by and you do miss these opportunities. For a lot of people, depending on your industry, for me in real estate, it really truly is an opportunity thing. There are windows of opportunity in the market that I'm in Vegas. 3 years ago, there weren't these super expensive homes in Las Vegas, but now all of a sudden we have these opportunities to potentially find clients to buy these very expensive homes. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was even harder. And then so many things change. So we have to look at these opportunities. We can't just react to them, kind of like, whatever's trending, just jump into it, not knowing. If we take the time and energy to really analyze things, then you can kind of get a better gauge of where to put more pressure, where to push, and make the right decisions to become more successful. And then again, patience is part of that equation. A lot of people see that, Vegas has been a good real estate market, so they jump in thinking they're gonna make a bunch of money. I think another example right now is people doing like crypto and stuff. And yes, there are people making a lot of money with it, but they are in the know, or they've been working on this for a long time. They have better information and knowledge than us, or myself, let's say. And so we have to be patient a little bit to learn this market. And if it's something that you have interest in, then you have to spend the time, pay your dues, and then that's where the good patience comes in. And then you get to a certain level and you can start working on things and hopefully start seeing some success. Again, positioning is very important. And then patience, if we use it correctly, I think it can be very helpful. If we use it incorrectly, it can be not just unhelpful, but it could be actually somewhat disastrous. So we have to recognize the difference, and I'm kind of repeating that, but I find that's a very tricky subject for a lot of people because it's easy to kind of just let things go for whatever reason. Sometimes just procrastination, sometimes it's fear of the unknown, sometimes it's not knowing how to do it but don't want to ask. I mean, there's many reasons why we oftentimes don't do what we're supposed to, but we really have to have a gauge of time, have a gauge of this window of opportunity. You know, if you're working on something that's a 5-year project, sure, you have some time. But if you're working on something that's a 5-week project, you have less time. And if it's a 5-day project, you got to get on it now, right? Like immediately. And so we kind of need to recognize these things. So as we look at this, section about patience, view it as, yes, it is a virtue, but remember what patience is filled with. And if it's positive energy, that's a good thing, because then you're ready to react and do what you need to do when the time comes. But if your patience is a lack of performance and it forces you to just keep, thugging along, then that's something that you may want to look at adjusting. So again, I appreciate Master Sun creating this section for us to recognize the difference, and so that we don't just lump everything into, well, I'm being patient. We realize that there can be a negative side to that, and we have to be cautious that we're not falling into that. All right. Okay. So with that, I'd like to get Amy back to go to the next section. I'll be reading on page 90, or yeah.
Yes.
Let me add the spotlight. Okay. I think you begin.
Okay, secret 6, enhance mindfulness. I worked hard to play a good role in every aspect. I want myself to be perfect in every aspect. However, sometimes I'm not precise enough, resulting in misses. Do we also have different levels of mindfulness? What should we do to improve our mindfulness?
When we were young, we were told to be very careful during exams. We need to check our answers before submitting our answer sheets. But ask yourself, in your daily life, in your work, or in your household matters, are you careful and mindful? Do not mistake precision with fussiness or being too careful. Being mindful is whether or not you have exercised enough care and precision to people and matters around you. For example, if you are mindful, you will be able to detect the needs and issues of others. If you can do so, do you think you can improve your relationship with other people?
Of course, I will. If I can exercise my care to people, it will give them warmth.
Same thing at work. Today, if you run business development for your company and you exercise a high level of care in the cases you handle, then prior to meeting with customers, you work hard to gather and settle every detail, and your supervisor will be very confident during negotiations, and the success rate will be high. Similarly, in all aspects of life, you should hold the same attitude and carefully equip yourself with all winning tools. Every day in your positioning evaluation, keep asking yourself, am I ready?
But many people are just careless. What can I do?
Practice more. Students who practice SuperLife secret codes always improve their mindfulness over time. If you work diligently and do your spiritual practice diligently, over time your precision and mindfulness will improve, but this needs to be complemented by the right ambition. Only then will you attain success.
All these nitty-gritty details, although they look trivial on the surface, every step determines our success. Every topic and theme needs to be well reflected and discovered so that we can trace down the root causes. We can't just follow our feelings. Is that what you mean?
Okay, we can pause there. Amy, would you like to share?
Yes. So Master Sun at this uh, section, he talks about enhance mindfulness. I think mindfulness, without learning in Super Life Secret Codes, it sounds really vague. It's too abstract. What is it? But after learning from Master Sun in Super Life Secret Codes, Master Sun really teach us to pay attention, to self-reflect. It's almost like before we don't really pay attention to many details in our daily life, but now we are asked to self-reflect, meaning to look into things and pay attention to every second. Master Sun always uses the term every second, every moment. So think about love and gratitude, it's every second. But maybe in the past we go, how can somebody ever be every second? Because we don't. We just kind of live like autopilot. But now it's different because what Master Son asks us to step up another level. So not just to pay attention to your uh, daily life at the end of the day or at the end of the week. You do it every hour if you can, every minute if you can, every second even better. So this is the kind of frequency we're kind of bring up the frequency and our of our mindfulness and awareness. If we practice that, we can absolutely manage our energy. So how many times do we pay attention to our energy throughout the day or in a day? I think most people's answer is zero. We don't ask about our energy level. We don't pay attention. We don't really know what it is. So that's a problem because energy equals to money and happiness and health and family relationships. If these are the things we want, how can we not know what our energy level is? So if we look at the effect, we trace back to the cause. We have to pay attention to the cause. So that's why Master Sun teaches a wonderful tool, which is 弟子规. And people will be thinking that how is 弟子规 relate to mindfulness? It absolutely um, is absolutely related because in 弟子规, if we really dig deep, what is that? What does 弟子规 teach us? It teaches us to be respectful. We are not very respectful. We only respect to the things we care about, but we don't respect water. We don't respect wind or mountains or the street lights or a piece of bread, a cup of coffee. Why? Because they're there every day. We take it for granted. They're just there. But if we turn up a notch, we bring up the frequency of our respect, not just to people we care about, but to things. We have connection to all things. Then our awareness is much finer, right? Isn't it? Because before we don't care about the non-living things, or we don't even care about our neighbors, the people that we don't even know. But now we care, we respect. So starting from be respectful to all things and practice that, at first, it's really hard or it's really awkward because we don't care. But the point is to care. That's mindfulness. So we bring up the horizon or the areas of mindfulness. Then we start to pay attention to our daily life. Every hour, every minute, what have we been doing? What have I say? What am I saying right now? Is what I'm saying gonna deliver good result? Or am I saying this thing which makes me happy right now, but it's going to cause me problem or agony or misunderstanding with another person. So think carefully before we do it. So that's mindfulness, and do it in smallest and smaller increment. Then we will prevent leaks, and it works. Amazing. Um, Another thing I want to share is that the other day I was practicing sun visualization meditation at home, and all of a sudden I realized that because we learn about history, we learn about Mayan civilization. If you watch the History Channel, you learn about the native people. They build up, like their whatever, civilization. And what they do is the Mayan people, the ancient people, the tribes, they really worship the sun. They will have ritual. They pray to the sun because they're hoping for harvest. They like to have rain, perfect weather, so they can grow corn, they can have plants or the vegetations. They want that. So they worship the sun, and sun is the most important source to give all things nutrient. So all of a sudden I thought about Mayan civilization, and they absolutely love the sun. And I go, wow, in Super Light Secret Codes, we learn to connect with the sun. And look at the Mayans. They are the early primitive people. They had the natural innate abilities still. They obtained these abilities. But later on, in a civilization, due to technology, due to greed and power and so forth, a lot of these natural connection and abilities have been deteriorate. Um, the reasons are pretty complicated, but people start to lose the ability, or they focus on other things. They focus on wealth and other things, so they forget about making a connection with the sun. So I realized that Master Sun bring us back to the basis, bring us back to nature, and bring us back to the origin of all things, and truly make connection with nature. And that's how we gain the energy and the wisdom and all things from. So all of a sudden, I was so appreciative to Super Light Secret Codes, because this is how humans supposed to do. So that's my realization. Another thing I um, I recently learned also is that Master Sun, he mentioned about the sun. Super Light Secret Codes teaching us to make connection with the sun and the universe so we can receive energy. Um, but humans, when we don't have abundance, when we don't have health, money, and so forth, we blame, maybe we blame God, we blame Buddha, or we blame life. We blame about how come I'm getting this bad fate, and somebody else has a better version than mine. So we will have these type of agony and pain. However, if you think about it, Master Sun explained to us that uh, sun is always there, and sun is very kind, never discriminates. Think about it. It doesn't matter if you're a bad person or good person, the color of your skin, what your age is, and your gender. When the sun is there, the sun will give you sunshine. Doesn't matter where you are. So the sun does not discriminate. Sun always loves everybody equally. So if that is the case, how can somebody has the ability to receive the sunshine and the nutrient, and some people don't. And some people are even allergic to the sun. What happened? You know, the sun is there and we're it's there to give us all the benefits, but some people cannot receive it. So whose fault is it? Is it the sun? No, it's us because we have deficiency and we have blockage, therefore we cannot receive it. So when I think about this concept, I realize it's really kind of like a cell phone versus the data, the internet data, all the abundant information. So the information is out there. And if the cell phone is broken, cannot receive the data, is that the data's fault? The data is there for everybody to connect. So back to the basis. When we cannot receive abundance and happiness, we have to look into ourselves, and all of a sudden we go, Master Sun, you're right. You teach all of us to self-reflect. When we cannot receive happiness and wealth and so forth, if we look outward, we blame the universe, we blame the sun, we blame other people. Of course, we cannot find a problem because we're the one who's we have bugs and we have deficiencies. So therefore, look into ourselves to see how can we update, repair, and make adjustment. We need nourishment. Therefore, we can be functional again. So that's why in Super Light Secret Codes, Master Sun teaches to self-reflect and uh, get rid of our bad habits. In Buddhism, it talks about 5 toxins, and these are the bad habits that humans have. When we have these traits, we will have problems. We have greed, we are jealous, and all these negativity in us. They are called toxins. Therefore, it blocks us from receiving all the wonderful energy from the universe. So that's why Master Sun teaches us to get rid of them, remove them, and study the 弟子规 because that is a guideline of how to be a good human being, and that is a great reference. And every day we learn, we go, oh, it tells us to be respectful, but I'm not respectful, so I need to change it. So if we have that mindset and keep digging for our flaws or for bad habits, we will be nourished, we will be updated, and then we'll be back to its original function, and we can always receive abundance from the universe. And because the universe wants all of us to have happiness, and remember, the universe and the sun does not discriminate. All of the wonderful uh, data, energy, blessings are all out there for us to receive. That is my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for your sharing. Yeah, you know, as you were talking about the sun, I have talked to some people too that, you know, they don't like the sun. You know, they wouldn't even walk their dog in the sun. They'll wait till the evening. And then I also noticed, like being in Vegas, a lot of people can be affected by the weather, especially those that are, you know, working outside and stuff. When they see that heat and they see the sun, they can receive it, you know, very negatively. Whereas other people, you see, they can embrace the energy of the sun and it can actually, you know, help fuel them. And, you know, this is really one of those things that we have to monitor in our own lives. It may not be the sun. It might be something else. I think one area for all of us that sometimes is a challenge, and I'm going to let you guys kind of chime in on this too, is when people give us advice, or some would like to call it criticism at some point, right? And for me, it's very interesting. It depends on, it used to depend a lot on who was giving it to me. So if someone who's, say, better at something than I am, then I could accept it more. But if someone who's not so much, I would question them, or sometimes I'd be defensive even. But at the end of the day, I realize, all of that is my own positioning, my own energy. If I'm in a mood to receive things and I want to improve, then these words become very helpful. For sure, learning Super Life Secret Codes and opening my mind and heart has been helpful to that, where people can say something and I can really position as this is good information. Let me take it in. I don't have to judge it. I don't have to apply it immediately. It's just information and it's data. And then down the road, maybe boom, I can use that data. So as a result of learning Super Life Secret Codes, for me, it's been easier to listen to people's advice and even criticism. But I do still have, there are times when someone's a little too harsh or too aggressive. You didn't do this right, or you did this wrong. The initial response is I want to argue, but because of trying to manage energy better, I try not to initially jump at that. But I think there are times that I still fall short and make that mistake. How about you guys? Like, how do you receive advice or positive criticism or productive criticism? Whoever wants to go ahead.
Okay, I can share. I used to be, I think a more prideful person. But after learning Super Life Secret Codes, I told myself the goal here is to transform and improve. So I learned to humble myself, and especially I think I give credit to Di Zigui, because Di Zigui, like again, I'm sure about being respectful to all people, not just people I think who has more wisdom or who's more knowledgeable or has more power. That's not the case. Sometimes we learn from even little kids, and we can even learn from nature. So I think the thing to me is when I listen to something and it's right, I told myself, right is right. It doesn't matter who this person is. So I force myself. It's a thing that I learned from Di Zigui. That's my sharing.
Okay, thank you, Amy, for that. Vivian, go ahead. Everybody gets to share.
I think before joining Super Life Secret Code, when people criticize or give you suggestion, I'll probably just defend myself. This is my first reaction. But after learning Super Life Secret Code, no matter it's from the boss or a coworker or my sister or my mom, I try to say, appreciate you give me this suggestion. Even though in my mind, I might think, I'm not doing wrong. Why you say that? But I try to change myself, just like Amy says, try to change myself, force myself to appreciate. Okay. One, I think Super Life Cyclicals, the gratitude, this cycle is so powerful. Once you put a lot of gratitude into your mindset, and you don't feel like you want to argue with them, you want to defend yourself, and then you want to find a lot of reasons, excuses to say, I'm okay, I'm correct. I think gratitude is the most powerful tool, so everybody can give a try. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Yeah, I absolutely agree with the gratitude comment, because that really, it becomes like, for me, sometimes it is like, if I can take that second and look at things through the lens of gratitude, it becomes kind of a game to try to grab the good out of whatever they're saying, right? We want to find that. And then once you can find that, however it's packaged, we know that, it's something that we can use. It becomes data and a good tool. So, I always ask or challenge people as they use gratitude towards every situation. And if you really put it to the test, it will always bring something positive out of it. And the one thing that everybody always throws out, well, what if someone does, hurts your friend or family member, and you're going to love that person, you're going to appreciate that person. And yeah, the answer would be, I don't, want them to continue hurting people I know, but the gratitude, the lesson that I may have learned would be maybe to avoid a certain area if there are those type of people in that area, warn others and hope that, they never have a problem with that. So it is something that it's a lesson. So with gratitude, you have to have a right positioning and a mindset for it. We can't, it's not a miracle working thing, but if you use it right, you'll start to really see the positive. And even when people are criticizing, like you said, it doesn't matter who it's coming from. You just you're through the lens of gratitude, you're looking for that good, positive data or information that you can learn and improve from. So I think that's great. This is like how we see Super Life Secret Codes, and all of this practice is really helping us. And if we can receive all this from people, they will feel better about themselves. Like, isn't that what a lot of people want to do? They want to help, but not everybody knows how to present themselves. So really it's up to us. If we have the right mindset, we can receive the information, we can decode it, and be very grateful. And that will make other people feel better. And I encourage everyone to experiment with that. Take whatever someone says, decode it into a positive way, apply it to yourself, and say, thank you, I appreciate you, sharing this information with me. I'm going to make some adjustments. I truly believe if you do that enough, you'll see that the other people, they too get something good out of that, as opposed to you saying, no, you're wrong, I am not this, or something. They create that argument, and see the outcome of that, and you absolutely will realize the difference of how the outcome and the energy that each person feels. And if you do it right, it's adding to building a harmonious environment. And if you do it wrong, it's just creating a little more conflict. So again, thank you, Amy and Vivian, for your reading and sharing. I also want to thank the participants on Facebook. And then last but not least, I want to thank Master Sun for providing us these great tools to improve our lives. Have a great rest of your night in the US and a great rest of your day in Asia. Thank you. Okay.